what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Court is back in session with your guy, Jonathan Mathis, the sports judge. 5 players and 2 coaches were ejected after a fight broke out in the second quarter in the Minnesota Timberwolves 123-104 victory over the Detroit Pistons on Sunday night. The scuffle begun with 8:36 left in the half with the Pistons up 39-20. A huge courtside brawl breaks out. This turned ugly. In the second half, you have guys getting into a wrestling match. How it all started was Minnesota forward Naz Reid was fouled by Pistons Ron Howland while driving to the basket. And this game between two of the most physical teams in the league was chippy, and Minnesota head coach Chris Finch had a feeling what was coming. I directly listened to the press conference following the game because I wanted to hear everyone's take and reaction to what happened. If you listen to the presser, Finch basically says the game was too physical and that he felt it was bound to happen because it was lopsided in its physicality. And so the competitive tension that had been building boiled over. And after the whistle, Holland appeared to say something to Reid, who turned around and started pointing his finger at Holland, who didn't take that too kindly. That evolved into a skirmish during an animated moment. The two had a heated back and forth exchange. At this point, there's already drama and players fighting. This was a full-on physical confrontation because the two of them openly engaged in a verbal altercation. Reid and Holland get into it. That evolved into a melee. Reid unleashed a verbal jab on Holland. That petty confrontation easily escalated into a barrage of words. Naz Reid initiated the fight for nothing. The defender went for the ball and he slapped it away. That's what a defender does. So the way Naz Reid reacted was petty and lame. I can see if it was a hard foul or if Holland roughed him up and sent him crashing to the deck, but all he did was slap the ball away. I believe this wild brawl stemmed from an early buildup, and in what was an already physical game between both the Timberwolves and Pistons in a heated matchup that took a wild turn when chaos erupted out on the court. Tempers and emotions flared and eventually brawled over. It was a physical game, a little too physical, and it just felt like a game where it was only a matter of time before a fight would break out, and shortly indeed it happened. The shimmering beef between both of these teams had finally ignited. A scuffle then ensues before order was restored. Wolves guard Dante DiVincenzo steps into the fray, grabbing DiVincenzo and Hollins, the two tangled and fell into the front row. It's chippy. It's that time of the season. Emotions are high. I absolutely love seeing this. I do not in any way condone the fighting, but this is what attracts fans. I think it's great for the sport. I think it's entertaining. This is what makes the NBA fun. Trash talk, throwing hands, that's what the game is missing. It's missing drama. Surely we want to see some fireworks. Softening the league has been a mockery of the game. It has just been a bad product. It's the softest brand of basketball you've seen. If a player engages in a physical altercation, oh, that's bad for the game. We're calling for him to be suspended. It's terrible for the game. I just find that to be the height of hypocrisy. If a fight doesn't break out, the NBA is soft, weak. We're complaining about no physicality, no toughness, no grit. Damned if we do, damned if we don't, because as soon as a fight happens, which happens every so often, people are like, this guy is a clown. And so it's like, how can you make your league more appealing and captivating? And this is one way. And again, I'm not promoting violent activity, but I understand that fights happen on the court. There's no fighting allowed in the NBA. But fights like the one between the Pistons and Timberwolves can establish balance in the NBA. You're giving the fans something to watch. Big picture. I think the NBA would be a better product than ever. And so it's like, a lot of times, it feels like real competition. None of this buddy stuff. Fans don't want to see that. I can promise you, this league would be better off if we see more of what we saw Sunday night. It's good for the league when there's a strong dislike for a player. Dislike is what creates rivalries. The drama, the chaos, the brawls can totally reshape how the NBA plays out and how they are consumed and what the outcome is going to be and what the ratings will look like. It's healthy for the game. We see how everybody is talking about what took place on the court Sunday night. Even the casuals are talking more about the fight than the actual game. Back in the day, the game was more physical and fights would occur. And this was during an era in which there was no social media. Today, something happens and the internet is on fire. Watching a video showing an infamous brouhaha involving NBA players pushing and shoving. And honestly, it wasn't really all that of a fight, just a lot of pushing and shoving, wrestling going on. It's not like they were throwing punches. And now you really have to look at this Pistons team and say, really? That's a fight? It was WrestleMania on a hardwood floor. I made fun of this fight because this, to me, wasn't really a fight. Come on now. You guys can fight better than that. My 4-year-old can put up a better fight than that. What was that? What was this crap? A Jerry Springer studio brawl? A staged fight between a bunch of NBA players who acted tough and knew security and the coaching staff was in the vicinity? And that the coaching staff would have their backs? That's not a fight. It's kind of like when you pay to watch a heavyweight fight and then you have two boxers in the ring dancing around like it's some dance competition. What am I watching? Dancing with the Stars? I mean, the little things we gripe about, right? You know what, man? I'm going to be honest. Divavinshu crashed out more than anyone. It's like he waited his entire life for this one moment. I'm like, bro, he was ready for that smoke. That's that Philly toughness right there. There's a lot of people who look at the Pistons as fake, wannabe tough guys. And the truth is, Isaiah Stewart and that other dude, Howland, try way too hard to be bad boys. I can't embrace what Isaiah Stewart does. And that's what it is for me. I think he personifies toughness, but he's not really about that. And I think the whole thing with LeBron, where Stewart didn't really start chasing him down until his former coach came over to restrain him. And then the episode he recently had with Steph Curry, two players who don't really cause any problems. Stewart goes after them only with his teammates around to hold him back. I'll still say he has developed this reputation for being ready to fight, but I don't know about him being this guy that's about that life. You know, look at Stewart. He's always ready to beef with somebody. He's their enforcer and all that, but is he really this tough dude he says he is? I'm all about them going back to a formula that has worked in Detroit, and that's a physical, gritty, hard-nosed defensive style. But I don't feel we can say Marcus Sasser, Holland, and Stewart embody the culture of the Pistons, regardless if they're bad or not. Don't even try to put them in the same sentence as Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Bill Laimbeer. You can't compare these young guys to the bad boy Pistons. That was a more physical era. Hard fouling, fighting, scrapping. I don't even think you can put them up there with Rasheed Wallace, Chauncey Billups, and Ben Wallace. Those guys didn't back down and would get in your face, and not once did they flinch. I love what Bickerstaff said in the post-game interview, saying this is basically their identity, the culture they created, their standard. It's great for basketball. I don't think the commissioner is pleased about this. The problem with it is, since people welcome this kind of drama, is that it's spilled into the stands, and the fans getting injured in a situation like that could be bad. That's something you don't want, because now you have another situation on your hands where fans can't get involved. And that's not a pretty picture. We've been down that road before and saw the end of that road. And the crazy part is it involves this same organization, the Detroit Pistons. At the start of the 2004-05 season, the ugly malice at the Palace took place when Ron Artest went into the stands after a fan threw a cup of beer on him. There have been plenty of wild brawls in sports history, but nothing tops that. That was the worst night in the NBA. It was the ugliest thing I've witnessed. A fan throws a plastic cup full of beer at Artest as he laid down on the scores table. That was it. That was crazy. That had Artest snapping. That was the ticking time bomb, and Artest exploded. Obviously angry, he reacted by jumping into the stands for a retaliation, and it sparked what was the most infamous brawl in NBA history. Fans and players coming to blows, trading punches. I mean, that was wild. Artest angry and upset, and rightfully so, threw punches, and fans threw more objects and drinks. Moments later, Indiana's Steven Jackson, who is now an awesome podcaster, like his interviews and his style and everything, by the way, he would soon jump into the stands to obviously defend his teammate. And then, of course, several Pistons and Pacers players followed into the stands to try and break up the fighting. Fans began pouring onto the court in a state of adrenaline, with some fans taunting and throwing beverages and objects at Pacers players as they made their way off the floor. Even one spectator, I remember, threw a chair at the players. Yeah, that was one crazy night that you couldn't put into words. It was a cowardly act by the fans who started the whole thing, and a classless move by fans who thought it was cool to throw drinks and other objects at the players. That was beyond insane. It was disgusting and indescribable. So this kind of stuff makes for great entertainment and has been going on for a long time in sports. That's the kind of stuff you want. But no one is fearing this Detroit team. The bad boys of Detroit, huh? It wasn't the rebirth of the bad boys. They may stick up for each other, have each other's backs, and embrace that bad boy label and make it their identity, but they're not about that. They smell blood in the water, and you can see this was brewing. Just watch the game. Ron Howland and DiVincenzo had been going back and forth. You can see this was going to happen. It seemed like on every possession, everybody had something to say. You know, they were going back and forth. It was real chippy. A lot of back and forth exchange. And so it kind of reached the point where this was going to happen. Cooler heads prevailed. They separated them. It's wild to watch that video and see that the coaches were even going at it. The league is very strict about fighting. And by the way, this is what fans want to see. Again, this is something they want to see. We need more drama. This is probably the kind of drama you've been desperately waiting to see. A brawl is exactly what fuels rivalries and creates storylines that could transcend what your product is. All right, everyone, that wraps this up. Thank you for checking in, tuning in, and supporting the dream. Without you guys, none of this is possible. And before I go, make sure you hit the subscribe button and like and share the video. Have a great day, everyone. Talk to you guys next time. Thanks for chilling and hanging out with your guy, the Sports Judge. Have a great day, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, and happy April 1st.